let's go through how to farm Luna, just to cover my back for the future, because amorphous seem to be able to change. Make sure that you're just aware that you can always come into here and search wherever it is that you want. Obviously, I've been through and tried each of the different places where we can farm things to work out where I think the best places for each of these things are, just in case something changes. Just make sure that you're aware of that. Two things in particular are going to make farming Luna easier then. That is, of course, having a copy of Sharon and having at least up to the Swamp Walker unlocked, because the Swamp Walker as a boss is not too difficult, and we are going to want to be able to unlock the 94 for Luna's code. Starting out with Luna's cells then, we're going to want to farm 081 Alpha. This is in Echo Swamp and in the Musk Egg Swamp, as you can see here. We're looking for 81s. This is going to be a requirement. You are going to need to infiltrate this particular outpost. It's a fairly simple one, so we're just going to wait for the countdown to go here, get the invisibility on the go, and then going to make our way around each of the panels here. Obviously, if you get seen or someone else gets seen, this can screw things up, so just bear that in mind. Give a slash out so that we can go back to being invisible. This will bring the boss down from the platform that we see up there. This one is pretty easy anyway, but I always like to just make sure that we're popping a lot of the enemies off as we are doing this. Rinse and repeat this until you get your 081 Alpha, and that is where you are going to be grinding this out to get the cells, as we said before. Pretty simple fusion reactor here as well. The boss isn't too difficult to defeat, and the shards as well. I've already got videos on where we farm all of the different shards, so if you do need some though, they're right in the same zones. That should not be too much of an issue. For the catalyst, we're going to be moving over to Vespers, where we are going to be farming up the 71 AA, which again is an infiltration reward. This one is going to be a 20% drop rate. I didn't mention it before, cells a 10% drop rate, so you want at least 10 of those. You're going to want at least 5 of these, but I usually like to double it, right? So go for 10 of these as well. Should not be too difficult to get the catalyst. Again, another fairly simple outpost, so we're just going to go on through. Get everything broken. Quick slash. Everything gather up. Finish off the boss. Like I say, nothing too crazy there, so we're all good. And again, you're going to want to be farming up the 071, so make sure you are getting a stealth reward from this one. For the stabilizer, you're going to want to head back to Albion, where we're going to go to the Infiltration Operations Terminal. Get this selected, and we will find that we can get the stabilizer from the Unknown Laboratory. Pretty good shot chance at 32%, so this shouldn't take too much. 5 to 10 of those should easily have the stabilizer in your possession. And then over to the Asylum for Luna's code, which is also going to be 32% drop chance. So as long as you can get some of the hard mode bosses done, this really isn't going to be too much of an issue for you to get Luna's parts. Looking at the rare materials then, the specialized biometal should not be too much of an issue for you to farm. This basically comes from any of the outposts in Hagios, so go ahead and pick something else that you want to farm up basically, and you should have this in abundance, especially if you're farming all of the different descendants like me. Should not be too much of an issue. This leaves us with pure energy and highly concentrated energy, which comes from encrypted storage boxes. It also means it can drop from some of the orange name enemies, but that's not really the best way to farm this. At this point, if you have Enzo, this is going to be an advantage. People keep on asking why Enzo's so good. Basically, if you look at his passive here, he makes it easier to disarm the bolts and gives you increased rewards. So just overall going to be extremely useful for getting these materials. The overall best spot that I've found for the pure energy residue, obviously this comes from the fortress. You want to go to the frozen valley right here. Once you arrive here, give it a scan straight forward. You can hear we've got a ping already, so that means there's going to be one over here somewhere. They seem to appear in various locations over on this kind of horror looking area, because you've got the crane on there and everything else. This one looks like it's out front. There we are. So we'll go ahead and open this one. They're not always this simple to find. In case you don't know, it's just going to be some button presses as this goes around. There we have it. I'll just give you guys a quick look around at the top as well, just so you can see some of the other areas. I've had one appear up on that upper part just there. And if we come over this way, if one's like really doing your head and you can't find it, it's also able to spawn. Here we are, inside this cave right here. So let me see if we can get this up on the map so you can kind of see. It goes underneath. And if you just come on underneath, you can often get an ultra precise one just inside this little alcove right here. So just in case something's kind of bugging you, you can't quite find it, they can be in and around the area, but this is where you're often going to find them. Then for the highly concentrated residue, which you can see comes from Hagios, I like to come to Starfall Road as pretty much as soon as we spawn, all we need to do is look to the right slightly, give it a scan, and if there's one there, we'll know that we have a vault that we can go ahead and open. Follow the ping until you find it, such as this one right here. Now they have two separate zones where we can just grab the resources. All we need to do is ping between this point and this point in Hagios, and that'll get you all of the resources that you need to build Luna.